Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It's time for the Raw notes, review, whatever the fuck, for September 15th, 2014, from Lafayette, Louisiana, the Cajun Dome. And this is the go-home show of Raw for the Night of Champions pay-per-view. And before I really begin, I want to apologize in advance. I'm not feeling super great right now. I've been congested, having a hard time breathing, so if you hear me coughing or sneezing, and I sneeze all the time, but the coughing, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I can't really help it. I've tried a bunch of things to get over it, but it hasn't worked, so let's just get this over with. The show starts with Paul Heyman in the ring, and of course, he promised to deliver Brock Lesnar being here tonight to John Cena, because if he didn't, Cena was going to beat the crap out of Heyman. So Heyman's talking, and again, I don't really give a fuck what he says. Cena comes out to interrupt him, and the two of them go back and forth talking about Brock. And, let's see. I can't remember exactly how it went, but Heyman says, you know what, I promised Brock was going to be here, and so he points towards the stage. Here he is right now, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Brock Lesnar. And Cena turns towards the entryway, of course, and he's like, oh, I'm ready, motherfucker, and he's doing this. And he's standing there for a good couple of seconds, and then Heyman starts laughing. And that cracked me up, because it's like, it's so fucking easy to fake Cena out, or to outsmart him, because he's he's an idiot. Yeah, so anyways, Heyman's laughing at him, and so Cena's like, oh jeez, and he turns back around, and so Heyman continues by saying that, you know what, I just couldn't help myself. I had to indulge in my inner troll or whatever the fuck to do that. But the fact of the matter is, Brock's plane has been delayed. He was on his way to the show, but his plane got delayed. So it's going to be a little bit before he gets here, but he will be here. And so Cena gets pissed off, and he says he's going to beat Heyman's ass at the half point of the show, or the halftime thing, because we got to be, you know, we got to bring in some Monday Night Football references. They're trying to be edgy and cool. And so he's going to beat Heyman's ass at halftime of the show if Brock doesn't show up by then. And so we're thinking that's the end of the promo. It pretty much is. But, let's see. Cena grabs Heyman in a headlock and basically drags it, or no, wait. He let Heyman get out of the ring, but Cena jumps out and grabs him and puts him in a headlock, basically. And he just starts dragging Heyman's ass up the fucking ramp through the curtain backstage. And that's where the segment cuts off. And I think then the commentators segue into a recap from last week's main event, which you'll remember was Roman Reigns. Was he going against Randy? I think he was going against Orton, yeah. But either way, what it turned up being was a big trap to beat the shit out of Reigns, because they had the cage lowered, and Rollins and Kane came out, and they all beat the shit out of Roman. So they recap that whole thing. And so tonight, apparently, we're going to have a match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, which is weird because they've already announced that these two are having a match at the pay-per-view this Sunday. I'm pretty sure they already announced this. Or at least at some point during this show they announce it. Which just makes it even stupider. Especially considering what happens, but we'll get to that. So they hype up that, and then all of a sudden, cutting back live into the arena, Jericho's music hits, and his pyro mainly hits. And so he comes out, and he's getting ready for a match. And I think they said that, Jericho was going to go against Kane. Corporate Kane. And so that's going to be up next, but after Jericho gets done coming out, they cut to a commercial. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to clear my throat. Anyways, coming back from the commercial break, they show us during the commercial break footage of Cena, still with Heyman in the headlock, dragging his ass backstage to Cena's locker room. And you can tell because on the door, there's this big piece of paper or whatever that says John Cena. And so Cena opens the door, throws Heyman's ass in, and he closes the door behind him. And, let's see. Cena's holding the door closed, and he looks over, and there's the great Khali, and he's like, "Hey, Khali, come over here." And I'm like, what the fuck is Khali gonna do? Cena tries a couple of times to tell Khali to watch the door and say that nobody, you don't let Heyman out, basically. He tries it a couple of times in English, and I'm like, yeah, Khali doesn't really speak English, so there's no point in doing that. But then all of a sudden, Cena says it to him in Indian, or I believe the language is actually referred to as Hindi. But JBL, moron that he is, refers to it as Punjab. But yeah, apparently Cena speaks Khali's language, because he says it to him, and Khali's like, "Oh, okay." Or, well, he says it in whatever the language is called. He's like, "Okay," and so, he stands in front of the door with his arms crossed, and Cena takes off, or whatever the fuck. That all happened during the commercial break. So cutting back live to the arena, Kane's music hits, and he comes out. So he's gonna come out for his match with Jericho. And so, we have this match between Kane and Jericho. There's a commercial break. And, let's see, there was a botched Snake Eyes spot in the corner. Let's see, right. Jericho had Kane in the corner. And he went up and mounted him to do the corner mounting 10 punches, right? But right before Jericho does the 10th punch, Kane grabs him and walks him out of the corner a couple of steps. He apparently walked a little too far, because when he went to shoot him backwards to do like the Snake Eyes, where he would drop Jericho face first into the corner, he was too far out, and so Jericho's face completely missed the turnbuckle. I think he may have hit one of the lower ones, because Jericho wound up with a cut on his chin, and he was bleeding. Because later on I noticed, why is the referee wearing gloves? And then they got a good look at Jericho, and I'm like, oh, his chin's bleeding. How'd that happen? Either way, what ends up happening is that at some point during the match, Kane rips off one of the corner turnbuckle pads. He, undoes the little rope that holds it on. He unties that, pulls the pad off, and just throws it away. And he had tried a couple of times to throw Jericho into it, but Jericho had countered. And so the finish of the match comes when, let's see, Jericho had been thrown towards the corner, or maybe he just backed into it. Kane came charging at him to, hit him or whatever, but Jericho drops down, drop kicks Kane in the knee, and Kane goes face first into the exposed turnbuckle. Jericho scrambles, grabs Kane, schoolboys him for the roll-up, 1, 2, 3, and Jericho wins. So Jericho wins the match. The match was okay. It wasn't super great, but at least it was, it was okay. Okay. We cut back to Cena's locker room. There's Heyman, of course. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So Cena told Khali to watch the door. You're not allowed to let Heyman out, but it's okay to let a camera guy in? I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm guessing we're supposed to forget that the camera guys exist, which is still pretty stupid. But anyways, Heyman has his phone out. He's trying to call Brock. But since he's inside the arena and inside one of the locker rooms, he can't get any reception on his phone. So he can't really get a hold of Brock. So we move on. They hype up the match between Roman and Rollins again. And they cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the break, we get a recap from SmackDown. The arm wrestling thing between Henry and Rusev that they did on SmackDown. And that's basically just a segue into them hyping up a segment that they're calling Mark Henry Rallies America, which is, of course, supposed to be Henry comes out and makes this great big speech to, rally America. Fucking Christ. So anyways, after they hype that up, we cut backstage to Renee Young, who's in the interview area, and she's doing an interview with Roman Reigns, of course. And before Roman even says anything, Renee segues into a recap going all the way back, what was it, like 3 months or so? Rollins betraying the Shield when he turned heel, betrayed the Shield and sided with Triple H and Orton and the Authority. Yeah. Excuse me. After the recap, I'm trying to remember what exactly Renee asked Roman. I don't really remember. But obviously it was something having to do with Rollins, And so Roman cuts a promo, and I actually thought it was a decent promo. It was something about, Rollins always has a game plan. Well, my plan is to just punch Rollins in the face over and over and over again until my fists bleed. Or something like that. It was a little bit more detailed than that, but I thought it was decent. Okay, so cutting back out to the arena, the real American music hits, and out comes Jack Swagger with Zeb Coulter. And then they cut to a commercial break. And I think it was as they were cutting to a commercial, I think it was Michael Cole said, yeah, Swagger's going one-on-one with Bo Dallas. And I'm thinking, haven't these two been in a feud? Shouldn't you be saving this for, like, the pay-per-view or something? I guess not. Maybe they are, I don't know. But either way, after the commercial is over, Bo is finishing his entrance. And so it's time for these two to have their match. And again, this turns out to be an okay match. Didn't really have all that much in the way of notes, but Swagger gets the win. Let's see, what happened? I think what it was Bo went for a sunset flip. And he gets it, but Swagger kicks out at 2. And as he kicks out, he rolls over and transitions right into grabbing Bo's leg and locking him in the Patriot lock. It looked pretty fluid from what I saw, so yeah. Anyways, he's got Bo locked in the Patriot lock, and Bo can't get out of it, so he has to tap out. So Swagger wins by submission. And like I said, it looked like an okay match. Okay, sorry about that. Like I said, I'm not feeling super great tonight, but I'm gonna tough it out. Anyways, after the match, we get hype for a Divas match. Fortunately, it has AJ and Paige in it, but they're not the only two. It's actually a Divas tag team match, which is going to be AJ and Brie Bella versus Paige and Nikki Bella. And of course they have to hype up. This is the first time the Bellas have been on opposing teams. And I'm like, I don't care if they're on opposing teams. I really don't give a fuck. And apparently that match is going to be up next. But we get a recap of the segment last week with Jerry Springer and the Bellas. They recap that shit, and then they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Paige is already in the ring. So yeah, our Divas champion gets jobber entranced. And then the Bella music hits, and out comes Nikki. Because that's her music now. She comes out to no reaction, of course, because nobody gives a fuck about her. And then Brie's new music hits. And it sounds awful. It starts out with a... what's it called again? Auto-tune. An auto-tuned woman's voice saying, Brie mode. Ugh. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Can't believe she turned that into like a catchphrase. The Brie mode thing. I found this out from Spoonie. Apparently, if you watch the Total Divas show, you probably already know this. But apparently, Brie mode is the code name that all of the other girls came up with for when Brie gets sloppy, shit-faced drunk and starts falling all over herself. So, yeah. Brie takes this and turns it into a catchphrase, and it's somehow supposed to be when she goes beast or whatever. Yeah, which, by the way, no. Not even close, honey. But anyways, Brie comes out to her shitty new music. She gets no reaction either because, like I said, nobody cares about the Bellas. And then AJ comes out, adorable as ever. Oh, I swear. Anyways, so we finally get this match. And it turned out to be kind of meh. Because, like, well, let's see. The match starts off... It was gonna be Nikki and Brie were gonna start off. And even the commentators were like, well, that's weird. Nikki's actually gonna face her sister. And then I'm thinking, yeah, she is not, okay? And instantly, Brie goes after her. She screams and turns and tags in Paige. And I'm like, yep, of course. So, of course, Paige comes in. And Paige starts beating the piss out of Brie. Meanwhile, AJ is standing on the apron, and she looks so disinterested, like she could not give a fuck. She's just kind of got her hand up, and she's holding her head up with her hand, and she kind of has her hand out to tag Brie, and she's just like, I don't even care. And I'm like, yeah, I can't really blame you. But the match, this is the stupid part to this match. It really should have just been a singles match between Brie and Paige, because those were the only two who actually really got involved in the match. Like I said, Paige just beats the shit out of Brie for just a nice long while. And, trying to think. I don't remember exactly how it happened. I think Brie was making a comeback, and I think maybe she went to hit Nikki or something. Or maybe not, I don't remember. Like I said, I don't really remember how it happened, but somehow Brie got distracted. Either she was going over to tag AJ or something. I really don't remember. Oh, no, wait. Now I remember how it happened. It took me a minute because my brain's clouded right now. What happened was, Brie was making a comeback. She was crawling over to the corner to tag in AJ. Nikki jumps off the apron from her corner, runs all the way around the ring, grabs AJ, and pulls her off the apron. And I think AJ smacked her head on the apron. And so she was wiped out. And so Brie had nobody to tag. She gets up, turns around. There's Paige, who kicks her in the guts, cradles her head, lifts her up, and plants her with the fucking Rampage, the Cradle DDT. 1, 2, 3 match is over. So Paige and Nikki win. After the match, let's see. Paige jumped out of the ring to grab the Divas title belt. Nikki jumps into the ring and grabs Brie. she grabs Brie and picks her up, gets her up on her shoulders, and hits the shock treatment, which has been her stupid finishing move for a while now. I don't know what the fuck she calls it, but to me it's always going to be Abyss's shock treatment. It's the thing where you get them on your shoulders like a torture rack, and then you just fall down on your butt, and it's supposed to be like a backbreaker kind of thing over the shoulders. It's really weak, honestly, unless Abyss does it. See, when he does it, it looks badass, because it looks like you're really breaking them in half. When one of the Divas does it, it looks like shit. Especially one of the Bellas. So, whatever. So yeah, Nikki lays out Brie. Meanwhile, I think Paige has gotten back into the ring with the Divas belt. She starts skipping around the ring with the Divas belt. Meanwhile, on the outside of the ring, AJ is completely mirroring or mimicking Paige, skipping around. And Paige stops, and then AJ stops, and she's looking up at her all cute and stuff. And then Paige starts skipping again, and AJ starts skipping along with her. And they do it like 2-3 times. And I'm like, yeah, the match wasn't really all that great. It's better than most of the Divas matches we get, especially considering the one that we get later on in the show, which we'll get to. And trust me, I'm going to have plenty to say about that. But yeah, it was good that they kept Nikki the hell out of the ring for most of the match. And it was mostly just Brie getting her ass kicked. Either way, moving on, we get another recap from SmackDown. This time, it's of the... Let's see, it was an 8-man tag match. The Usos, Mark Henry, and Big Show versus the 3 members of the Wyatt family and somebody else. I don't know who the fuck it was. Who cares? But it showed, apparently what happened was Bray decided to jump down off the apron and go sit in his stupid rocking chair. Or maybe he never even got up on the apron. I don't even remember. Doesn't matter. I didn't actually see SmackDown, so I don't really know. Or care. But, it was getting to a point in the match where it was looking like the Wyatts were going to lose, and so Bray gets up out of his chair, and he starts moving like he's going to jump up on the apron to help out or whatever, but Big Show's on the apron staring him down, and basically prevents Bray from getting involved in the match. Whatever. Wyatt cuts into Bray up on the Titantron, who cuts another stupid promo. I don't remember anything he said. I don't care about anything he said. Let's just move on. Big Show's music hits and he comes out. And when he is done finishing his entrance, we cut back to Paul Heyman in Cena's locker room. And by the way, I think that was about at the halfway point of the show, or at least it was getting close to it. I'm not sure. They missed the halfway point of the show by a lot, by the way. It actually came more like 2/3 of the way through the show, because it came at about 10 o'clock. So, I don't know. Anyways, so after they show Heyman in the locker room, they cut to a commercial. Okay, coming back from the commercial, we're looking at Khali, who's still standing in front of the door. And the door opens behind him, and Heyman kind of pokes his head out, and he's trying to talk to Khali, but of course, the language barrier. Heyman kind of comes out, and he's like, look, I just want to step over there a little bit to see if I can call Brock. He's got his phone in his hand. And Khali grabs the phone out of Heyman's hand, drops it on the floor and stomps on it, and basically breaks it. And so, and Khali chases Heyman back into the locker room, of course. Meanwhile, I think Khali bent over and picked up what was left of the phone, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. And Heyman's like, oh, that's real funny, motherfucker. It actually was kind of funny. So anyways, oh, right. Big Show was in the ring, and before they cut to commercial, I believe they said that Show was having a match with Bray Wyatt. And that's why Bray had his stupid promo earlier. Anyways, after the stuff with Heyman, we cut back into the arena, and, you know, the blackout and the Wyatt music. And out comes Bray, of course flanked by Harper and Rowan. Oh yeah, and I forgot to underline this bullshit. Not that it matters. Let's just put it down like that, I guess. So anyways, Bray's there and Big Show's there, and we get the match between these two. And to me, it's a couple of big guys. This match was boring. I didn't give a fuck. What ends up happening is Big Show had hit the... I don't know what he calls it. I could have swore he called it the final cut. But apparently that's what Goldust calls his finisher. But either way, what Big Show had hit was the Eye of the Hurricane, which, like I said, Big Show used to call the final cut. So he hits that on Bray, and I think he went to pin him, and Harper jumps in the ring and breaks the pin up. So, of course, DQ. Match is over. Rowan gets in the ring to join Harper, and together the two of them try to beat down Big Show. And Bray rolls out of the fucking ring and goes over to his rocking chair. I guess he wanted to watch the carnage unfold. But Big Show counters, and he ends up getting both Harper and Rowan by the throat, and he lifts them both up at the same time and choke slams them both. So double choke slam. And Bray's just still laughing from his stupid rocking chair. And I'm thinking, why are you laughing, slapnuts? Your flunky's just got the shit choke slammed out of him by Big Show. This ain't no laughing matter for you. Anyways, moving on. We get more hype for the Reigns and Rollins match. And we cut to another commercial. Coming back from the commercial, the Usos come out. And then Sheamus comes out. And oh yeah, the one Uso that was hurt, he's better now, apparently. No more crutches, no more cast. He's okay, I guess. And they even mentioned that during the match. But we got the Usos and we got Sheamus. And then Cesaro comes out. I don't think he got much of a reaction, if anything at all. And then Goldust and Stardust come out. I don't think they got much of a reaction either. So we've got a 6-man tag match. There was a commercial break. And then I had to make a note of this. We get a crap finish where, let's see, what had happened. Cesaro was the legal man. Or no, I gotta back up a little bit. Sheamus was in there with Cody. And Cody runs up into his own corner where Cesaro is standing. He runs up the corner, and as he runs up it, Cesaro tags Cody on the leg, and so the ref is like, tag, okay. Cody springboards off the ropes to go for his beautiful disaster kick. Well, Sheamus ducked it, and as Cody got up, Sheamus brogue kicks the fuck out of Cody. But since Cesaro's the legal guy, he jumps into the ring real quick, and as Sheamus is still kind of recovering after the brogue kick, you know, because he kind of throws himself way off balance when he does that move. As he's kind of recovering, Cesaro grabs him from behind by the head, turns him around, puts him right down, cinches him up for the neutralizer, and plants him. And I'm thinking, ooh, yeah, that's got to be the finish of the match. He goes for the cover, 1, 2, and one of the Usos dives in to break up the pin. And I'm like, son of a bitch, that should have been the fucking finish. No. It continues. One of the Usos gets tagged in. He comes in, whacks Cesaro a couple of times, tags in his brother, the other Uso guy, who goes up to the top rope. Or no. He gets in the ring. The other Uso dived out of the ring on top of, like, Goldust and Stardust. Meanwhile, the legal Uso super kicks Cesaro, knocks him down, then goes up to the top rope, hits the big Uso splash, 1, 2, 3, and so the Usos and Sheamus win. And I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, Cesaro hitting the neutralizer on Sheamus should have been the finish. Again, I think I said this at the top of the show, but as a go-home show, this show sucked. Because this show did not make me want to buy the pay-per-view or even watch the pay-per-view at all. Because it's like, you have... Okay, so you have the Usos and Sheamus, the tag team champions and the US champion, who are going to be defending their titles respectively. Sheamus will be defending against Cesaro, and the Usos are going to be defending against Goldust and Stardust. So, don't you think it would be a good idea to make the heels look strong here? To maybe make them look like they're actual contenders for the fucking titles? Don't you think that would be the right thing to do? It probably would have been the right thing to do, but then again, the WWE always fucks that shit up. So yeah, Usos and Sheamus win. Who gives a fuck? Moving on, we get a recap. They recap again Ambrose's murder at the hands of Rollins and Kane from a couple of weeks back. When in reality, he's just been off filming a movie, and he'll be returning soon. After that, we get more hype for Roman and Rollins, and then another commercial break. And coming back from the commercial break, they announce that the kickoff for Night of Champions this Sunday is going to be a full hour long. So, no more half-hour bullshit. Well, no more. It's probably just for this pay-per-view. But along with the hour-long kickoff show, it's going to feature the Peep Show with Christian and his guest, Chris Jericho. And I'm thinking, well, holy shit, Christian, he's been on the panel for a while anyway, so it's not like it's any big surprise that he's still around. But, like, why do you need this to be an hour long? I don't get that. So that's another hour of my life that I have to waste this Sunday. Really not looking forward to that. Anyways, after that announcement, they hype up once again the Mark Henry Rallies America bullshit, which will be going on later. We cut back once again to the interview area with Renee Young again, who this time is with Randy Orton. And again, before anything can really be said, we segue into a recap, this time of, I believe it was last week, the season premiere of Raw, where Orton attacked Jericho, while Jericho was in the trainer's room after having his leg fucked up in a cage match with Bray. So, yeah. After that recap, Renee asks Randy a question, and he goes into a boring-ass promo. Don't really care what he said. It was yawn-inducing. Moving on, we cut backstage to in front of Cena's locker room again. Once again, Khali is still standing there. And apparently, we're finally going to get to the thing where Cena's going to beat the hell out of Heyman unless Brock shows up. That's going to be next, and we cut to a commercial. And like I said, this was at about 10 o'clock. Not the halfway point of the show like Cena said, no. Because that would have been 9:30. Anyways, after the commercial break, once again we're standing there with Khali. And Cena comes up, and again he says something to Khali in Punjab or Hindi or whatever the language is called. But Khali gets out of the way. Cena opens the door, grabs Heyman in a headlock again, drags his ass through the backstage area, all the way out. They go underneath the side of the stage. You know, the set that they have there. They go underneath that, and they also got a nice little spotlight. It's almost like this shit was planned. So Cena basically drags Heyman kicking and screaming all the way out to the ring. And Cena gets a microphone, and he starts talking, and he's basically bullying Heyman at this point. And I'm thinking, like, well, what a lovely face thing to do, yeah. Cena's supposed to be this ultimate babyface, and he's sitting here bullying Paul Heyman. And hell, Heyman finally starts talking, and he basically says just that. It's like, you know, it's so very heroic of you to bully, I think he said he was 49, a 49-year-old man with 2 kids, and he's begging Cena, I want you to hit me, come on, because I want you to be that bully, because you have to be that bully, you have to be a beast in order to beat the beast, Brock Lesnar. You know, he's really trying to get Cena to turn to the dark side. And I was actually into it for a minute, but then I don't really care. And fuck, let's see. Heyman's talking all this shit, you know, turn to the dark side, this and that. And the crowd starts chanting, yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, yeah, see? Even the crowd wants you to turn heel, Cena. Come on, you have to now. It's like everybody. And of course, Cena won't do it, because he's a bitch. And he starts, let's see. I think he was going to leave the ring. Don't know why. And Heyman still has the mic. And basically, let's see. If I remember correctly, what he said was, you know, because Cena was, you know, he didn't want to beat up Heyman anymore because he's bullying and he doesn't want to be a bully. And so Heyman says, if I was your mother, I'd be very proud right now. But then again, if I was your mother, I'd be wishing that my son had a pair of testicles. That's pretty much what he said exactly. So basically, he said Cena had no balls. And that was what pushed Cena over the edge. Because Cena turns around, gets back in the ring, and he just shoves Heyman on his ass and takes the mic away from him. Heyman falls out of the ring. And then Lesnar's music hits. And out he finally comes. And he gets his pyro up on the stage. He comes down to the ring. He goes around the side of the ring over to where the commentators are, because that's where Heyman wound up after he got shoved out of the ring. Brock helps Heyman up. And then the two of them walk around the other side of the ring to the front of the ring over by the ramp. And the two of them are basically teasing like they're going to leave. And just leave Cena hanging in the ring. Cena's standing in the ring. He's like, "Ooh, I'm ready. I'm ready, motherfucker." And finally, Brock, after way too much fucking stalling, finally gets up on the apron. He had already taken the WWE, the title belt. He'd taken it off and given it to Heyman. Brock finally gets up on the apron, and he starts getting into the ring, and as he's getting in, Cena has to blindside him. He starts trying to wail on him, but Brock gets around him, German suplexes him again, and lays Cena the fuck out, and Cena even rolled out of the ring. Or no, he rolled over towards the ropes, and then Brock gets up and basically just shoves Cena out of the ring with his boot. He's just like, "Get the fuck out," you know? And so Cena's out on the floor. He looks like he's about dead. And Brock's just looking around like, "Yeah, I'm a fucking badass. What of it, motherfuckers?" And he starts going over towards the other side of the ring to leave. And Cena dives back in and starts wailing on Brock again. And we got a big fight going on. Cena throws Brock out of the ring. He goes out after him. They're fighting all over the place, up against the barricade and this and that. And Cena even took Brock down to the floor and was basically mounted him and just started punching the crap out of him. And then it looked like Brock had turned it around and he was going to get on top of Cena. And then all of a sudden, here comes a shitload of security guys down the ramp. They pull Cena away and they have to hold him back. While Brock gets up, he doesn't need anybody to hold him back because he don't even care. He's just like, "Yeah, I'm going to leave." And so the security guys are holding Cena back. And so Brock and Heyman leave together. And then, you know, the security guys finally let Cena go. He gets into the ring and he's just like, "Yeah, whatever." And his music is playing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really think you really won that fight, really. Because it looked like Brock was on top of you, about ready to beat the shit out of you. But whatever. After that, they cut to another commercial break. And coming back from the break, for some reason, Cameron and Naomi are already in the ring. And apparently these two are about to have a match. And I'm thinking, didn't the feud between these two already end? What the fuck are they doing? They show a clip from Total Divas. And this clip shows the two of them talking backstage at a show. And what I was able to gather from it was Cameron wanted to go to NXT to, like, train and get better because apparently some people had told her that she sucks in the ring. P.S. She does. And so does Naomi, by the way. But apparently Cameron had heard that people thought she was shit in the ring, so she's like, "I want to go down to NXT and train a bit and get better." And so Naomi's like, "Oh, and you made this decision without me, so you just gonna break..." Apparently this was a couple of months back, before they broke up, the Funkadactyls, you know. And Naomi's like, so you made this decision without me, you gonna split us up, and all this other shit. And I'm like, why the hell, if this was back a couple of months ago before they broke up, why would you be against your partner going somewhere to train to get better? You would want your partner to be as good as they can, right? So this makes Naomi look like a complete bitch. So I'm like, way to shoot yourselves in the foot with this one, morons. Or are they trying to go for Naomi being the... I don't think so, because the way this match went, she was clearly booked as the face. So yeah, anyways, after the clip, the two of them start fighting, so we have this match between them. And inevitably, this should go without saying, but this match turned out to be complete garbage. And I'll tell you why. Because neither one of these bitches can wrestle for shit. There were botches galore in this damn match. Mostly from Cameron. Let's see. There was one thing where... let's see, I think Naomi was up against the ropes. I think Cameron was like doing the, the rope choking bit, whatever the fuck. And then she turned around to do like a mule kick to kick Naomi, and she like completely whiffed it, and Naomi didn't even sell it. That was hilarious. There was another big botch, but I can't remember what the fuck it was. But it was hilarious. Oh no, wait, no, now I remember. Okay. Cameron dominated most of this match, which is stupid because she sucks at wrestling. But anyways, Cameron's dominating this match. She gets Naomi down flat on her face on the mat. And then I think what she said was she looks down at Naomi and she goes, "Hey Naomi, remember this?" And she lifts her one leg up and does the splits and lands leg first across Naomi's back. And she's sitting there in the splits. She looks at the referee and says, "Count." And I'm thinking, count? She's not on her back, you idiot. You can't count. Her shoulders ain't down. She's on her face. And she looks at him, she says to him again, "Count." And he's like, "I can't, bitch. She's not on her back." And so she's like, "Oh yeah, finally." So she rolls her over, puts her leg back over her stomach. And the ref finally counts. And I'm like, you stupid fucking bitch. You don't even know that they have to be on their back for you to pin them. On your back, which is where you usually are to keep your fucking job, you whore. Good lord. This is why this bitch should not be in the WWE. She knows nothing. Nothing at all. She doesn't know a goddamn thing about wrestling. She has no talent, no charisma. Not that Naomi is any better. But seriously, Cameron is the absolute drizzling shits of female wrestling. She may even be worse than Eva Marie. And Eva Marie is a completely untrained noob. So, Jesus Christ. So yeah, the crowd's chanting JBL, by the way, because this match was so shit. They're like, yeah, JBL, whatever the fuck. Finish of the match finally, thankfully, comes when, let's see. Trying to remember exactly. Cameron went for a sunset flip. Or no. No. Cameron had Naomi in the corner. I don't know what the fuck she was going for. With her limited skills, not a whole lot, I would imagine. But she's got Naomi in the corner. Naomi jumps up and does a sunset flip out of the corner, and then transitions using her legs to wrap Cameron's arms around her back and pull her head up simultaneously so she can get her arms around Cameron's head to like choke her or some shit. I think this was the same fucked up submission move she used a couple of weeks ago in a tag team match. I don't remember what the fuck. I don't think they've given it a name yet. But it's this weird fucked up submission move. She's got her arms pinned back around her back. She's pulling her head forward. And she even like tried to get her one leg back and like kick the bitch in the face. Kind of like Tyson Kidd's dungeon lock. which is actually a well-done submission move, which is actually looks pretty brutal. Meanwhile, this looked like fucked up garbage. But, of course, Cameron taps out like the little bitch that she is. So, yeah, Cameron dominates about 90% of the match. Naomi counters one move into a sunset flip, transitions into this ugly submission move, and gets the instant tap-out win. This was a John Cena match. It was garbage. Botches galore. Neither one of these bitches is interesting, neither one of them can wrestle, and neither one of them has any fucking charisma. Please, God, fire them both. I don't fucking care if they're on Total Divas. I don't fucking care how many dicks they suck. They are not worth it. Okay? These bitches are trash. Plain and simple. And I'm sick to death of seeing them fuck up moves and botch like crazy, especially Cameron, who knows nothing. I'm sick to death of this shit. And oh yeah, the crowd was dead when Naomi finally won. So, let's just move on before I fucking kill myself, because I'm still having a hard time breathing here. Like I said, moving on, we get more hype for the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins match. And we also get more hype for the Mark Henry Rallying America segment. And then we cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the break, The Miz and his stunt double, Damien Sandow, or Damien Mizdow, however you want to put it, are already in the ring. And then Dolph Ziggler's music hits, and he comes out with R-Truth in tow, but Truth is now dressed up like Ziggler. So it's R. Ziggler, is what they're calling him. So Truth is wearing one of Dolph's other sets of trunks. It's one of the little pink ones. And he's even got the white boots with the black straps and everything. And he's wearing the t-shirt. And he even comes out mimicking Dolph the way he turns around and shakes his ass and shit, you know. Apparently they had done this on SmackDown or something, I'm not sure. But apparently they had done this before. Whatever. We have a tag team match between these two pairs, which again turns out to be decent, of course, considering the people who were in the match. Of course it was going to turn out to be decent. What ends up happening is Ziggler's legal with Miz, I believe. I think Truth had been thrown out of the ring. Sandow gets into the ring and grabs Ziggler from behind. He's like holding his arms back and he's like, Miz, hit him, you know. So Miz gets up. He was knocked down from something or whatever. And so Miz gets up and he goes to hit Ziggler, but of course Ziggler ducks and gets out of the way, and so Miz clocks Sandow, and so Sandow rolls out of the ring. Meanwhile, Ziggler's jumped up behind Miz, jumps up, hits the zigzag, and Ziggler gets the win. So Ziggler and Truth win the match. Like I said, the match was decent. Wasn't really much else of note from the match besides that. But yeah. Cutting backstage once again to the interview area, we are instead greeted by Tom Phillips, who is there with Seth Rollins. And again, before we can really talk, we get a recap, again, of the last week's main event shit with the cage and Roman getting his ass kicked and all that shit. And then we cut back to Rollins, who cuts his promo, comparing Roman to a Neanderthal, and says that the only reason why Roman's knuckles are going to be bloody is because he'll be walking on them like a monkey. So he gets down on all fours and he's like, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, and he's, you know, doing the monkey thing where he's knuckle dragging and banging his fists on the ground and shit. That was really it to that promo. And so they cut to a commercial break. coming back from the commercial, they announce that we're going to do another crappy 6-man tag match on SmackDown this coming Friday. Or Tuesday, excuse me. And it'll be all three of the Wyatt family versus the Usos and the Big Show. So it's basically the same match they had last week, minus Mark Henry and whoever the fourth member of the team for the Wyatts was. After that announcement, Roman's music hits and he comes out. I don't think he got that big of a pop. But then again, the crowd was kind of dead for most of the night, so I don't know. But after that, Seth Rollins' music hits, and he comes out to no fucking reaction like normal. And so we get the match between these two, which actually turned out to be decent once again, of course. Because even though Reigns isn't super duper good in the ring, Rollins is actually fairly okay, fairly good. Decent at least. Let's see, there was a commercial break. Reigns went to do his apron drop kick, but Rollins got out of the way. And so... Oh yeah. So Reigns misses the apron drop kick. Rollins basically does like a drop kick through the ropes to hit Reigns and wipe him out on the floor. And then Rollins bounces off the ropes and comes diving through the ropes with a suicide dive to wipe out Roman. So that was a nice little spot. It flowed together quite well, I thought. It looked nice. Later on, Roman ends up hitting the apron dropkick anyways on the different side of the ring. See, this was the interesting part about it. Instead of it being on the side of the ring that was opposite of the hard camera, which is where he normally hits it, which would be the side of the ring that would be to the right of the side that's by the ramp. That's the normal side. Instead, this time, Roman hits it on the side of the ring with the ramp. So Seth had gotten throated on the ropes over there, and so Roman's like, oh, fuck, I can do it now. And so he jumps up and he nails it. And then he scrambles to get into the ring, and he clocks Seth with a Superman punch. And of course, this is all setting up to go for the spear. Well, Roman goes for the spear, and I think what happened was... No, yeah, this is actually exactly what happened. As Roman comes charging for the spear, Rollins leapfrogs over top of it, and I think Roman hit the corner. Rollins ducks down and basically does like a schoolboy, but he just uses it to throw Roman back into the middle of the ring. He doesn't actually use it to go for a pin or anything. And so as Roman is kind of staggered from the roll of the schoolboy, he's kind of down on his knees, Rollins rears back and super kicks Roman in the face. This is basically Alberto Del Rio's concussion kick, which before it was Alberto Del Rio's concussion kick, it was Rollins' move in FCW, which he called the Avada Kedavra. Don't know what the hell that means, but I think it translates to, I'm gonna kick your teeth down your throat. Because that's basically what he fucking did. He nailed Roman right on the fucking chin. So, yeah, he got a 2 count off of that. I think it looked great. Anyways, let's see. Once again, I think we got the spot in the corner with the mounted 10 punches. Roman was punching Seth. But... No, that's not how it happened. Roman had Seth in the corner, lifted him up, and went to give him a superplex. But Seth fought him off, dove down like he was going to do a sunset flip, but Roman held on to the corner, but Rollins fought him, pulled him out of the corner, and somehow held him up, even though Roman is like twice Rollins' size, holds him on his shoulders, takes him across to the adjacent corner, turnbuckle power bombs him into the fucking corner. And for some reason, he went for a cover after that, which usually that's the move he uses to set up the curb stomp, the blackout. But yeah, he went for a cover after that, which was stupid. Of course, Roman kicked out at 2. And... oh yeah, after that, Rollins did like a couple of kicks. He would like do a turning reverse, like mule kick to the stomach to get him doubled over, and then he just did like a punt kick to kick him in the face to knock him up, and then another turning back kick to the stomach to get him doubled over. And then Rollins hits the ropes and he goes for the curb stomp. Roman got out of the way. He just dodged the blackout, and I think he just turned out of it, hits the ropes. As Rollins turns around, Roman plows through him with the spear, covers him, 1, 2, 3. Roman wins, clean as a sheet, and as I said earlier, these two have a match at the pay-per-view. So, why the fuck did you give it away for free on TV on the Go Home show? I have a theory. My only guess is that the pay-per-view match is going to have some sort of bullshit shenanigans. Kane's going to interfere, or maybe Randy Orton's going to interfere, or somebody else from the Authority, Triple H, I don't know what the fuck. Either that, or they're going to use this match at the pay-per-view to bring back Dean Ambrose, who will jump out of the fucking crowd and go crack happy on Rollins. And meanwhile, Reigns will just kind of sit back and laugh while Rollins gets his ass kicked by Ambrose. Something like that. But yeah, that was your main event match. That was the last match of the show. It was a decent match. I thought it was nice. You'll notice that the only thing that they hyped up that hasn't happened yet is that stupid Mark Henry rallying America thing. That actually turns out to be the last thing on the show, which is some stupid bullshit because nobody gave a fuck about this segment. But yeah, Reigns wins the match, clean as a sheet. So like I said, I don't know why they gave this away on free TV when the guys have a match at the pay-per-view. And it's not like there's anything different. It's not like there's anything on the line. It's not like it's for Rollins' Money in the Bank briefcase. It's not like a special stipulation match like a no DQ or a ladder match or any gimmick match like that. It's still going to be just a normal match. So I still have to ask what the fucking point was of giving this match away on free TV when it's going to happen at the pay-per-view. Normally, you have a rematch the night after the pay-per-view, but you're not ruining the match by having it the week before the pay-per-view. This makes no sense. But then again, retard WWE writers know nothing. They're fucking idiots. Let's just move on. After the match, we get another recap of the thing from SmackDown last week, the arm wrestling shit between Henry and Rusev. Again, they recap it for the second time. And of course, that's just a segue. They hype up the Henry rallying America thing, and they cut to another commercial break. And when they come back, we get another recap, this time of the segment from earlier with Cena and Heyman and Brock. The little fight that they had. Whatever the fuck. Cutting back to the ring, there's Michael Cole, and the ring is all dustied up in like patriotic red, white, and blue shit. And so Cole introduces Henry, who comes out, and I don't think he got any reaction. Because again, nobody cares about this shit. Henry starts talking, and whatever the fuck, he talks about, you know, being in the Olympics one year, but then, like, the next year he wasn't able to. He had some injury or something, so he couldn't be in the Olympics, whatever the fuck. And of course, Rusev's music hits, and he comes out with Lana. To no reaction, of course. And Lana starts talking, and she's talking to Henry, saying that, you know, you're actually lying about the whole thing. with the Olympics. You didn't, you weren't injured or whatever. You just backed out because you saw the Russian athletes, and they actually showed a picture of one of them. I can't remember his name. But he apparently was the guy who actually took home the gold medal that year in the powerlifting or whatever it was. But she says, you're lying and I've got facts, so here's the facts. We're going to talk about this Olympic shit. And then she talks about Vladimir Putin and whatever the fuck. Back to Henry, who gets a cheap pop from the live crowd by mentioning Lafayette, Louisiana, the city they in. And then Henry starts reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. But before he can finish, Rusev jumps in the ring, and he attacks Henry. And they're fighting, and I think Henry was trying to fight back at one point, but Rusev gets up and super kicks Henry in the face and knocks him the fuck out. But then Rusev makes the mistake of trying to put Henry in the accolade, the camel clutch. And Henry's so big, Rusev can't lock him in the accolade. And Henry fights it off, gets up to his feet, grabs Rusev by the throat with both hands, choke lifts him up with both hands, and slams him down in like a powerbomb thing. And I'm thinking, well, shit. Number one, I think Titus O'Neil uses that as his finishing move. D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry's former tag team partner, used that as the lowdown. It was actually not quite the same, but it was close enough. A-Train used that as the derailer, I believe. So it's like, shit, whatever the fuck. Who cares? Moving on. After the chokelift powerbomb, Henry throws Rusev the fuck out of the ring. And so he runs off with Lana, and Henry waves the American flag, and that's the end of the show. So we get this stupid fucking ending with this Henry and Rusev shit that nobody cares about. This shit could have come in the middle of the show, and we could have ended the show with the Reigns and Rollins match, which would have been fine. But then again, that might have been tiresome, because I think Roman Reigns has ended the show 2 or 3 weeks in a row. But then again, the last 2 weeks, it was him getting his ass kicked, I think. But either way, that's the end of Raw. While I still have some voice left, let's go over the matches like we normally do. First off, we got Chris Jericho defeating Kane in an okay match. And then we got Jack Swagger defeating Bo Dallas with the Patriot Lock, submission victory, whatever the fuck. And then we got Paige and Nikki Bella defeating Brie Bella and AJ in a meh match. And then the Big Show defeated Bray Wyatt by disqualification when Luke Harper broke up a pin attempt. And interference, of course, so whatever the fuck. After that, the Usos and Sheamus defeated Cesaro and the Dust Brothers in a meh match. After that, we got the fucking atrocity of Cameron getting tapped out by Naomi. Garbage fucking match that was. And then Dolph Ziggler and R-Truth, or R-Ziggler, however you want to put it, defeat The Miz and Damien Mizdow in a decent tag team match. And then in the main event, Roman Reigns defeats Seth Rollins, clean as a sheet with a spear. And that was the last match of the night. So like I said, again, I think that was kind of a stupid way to have that match. When they're just going to have a match at the pay-per-view. Anyways, who cares? That's the end of the show. The next show will be, of course, the SmackDown spoilers. That'll be within the next couple of days. I'll see when I can find the results for it. And after the SmackDown spoilers, I'll be doing, of course, my pay-per-view predictions, probably Saturday. And then, of course, Sunday will be the pay-per-view. Really not sure if I'm going to be doing anything else after the pay-per-view, because, as I have said before, this crap is really getting on my nerves. It's boring, it's a waste of my time, and I'm tired of wasting my time with this show. I hate to disappoint anybody who, watches this show, The Wrestling Rant. I hate to disappoint you guys, but it's getting real old. It's the same old shit. The storylines suck. Most of the people on the show are just terrible. You've got the Bellas, the Funkadactyls. Ugh, my God. I thought that whole thing with them was over, and then they surprised us with this shit again. And I didn't even mention the fact. I should have said this when I was going over the match in the first place. But the match, when the two of them were in the ring, before they even showed the clip from Total Divas, Cameron is standing there with a mirror, checking herself out, like fixing her makeup and whatever the fuck. And she's apparently doing that the whole time they go through the clip, the Total Divas clip. And as the match starts, she looks over at Naomi, she's like, hold on a second, she's still looking at herself in the mirror. And I'm like, bitch, stop stealing Tyler Breeze's gimmick. Naomi comes up and slaps the mirror out of her fucking hand, and that's how the match started. Oh my God, that shit was atrocious. That match was a fucking train wreck. Cannot believe they still put those two whores in matches. They are both terrible. You can argue about Naomi all day long. I will never, ever agree with you about her being good. She is not. She might be athletic, like I've said this before, she's a former gymnast or something. She's kind of athletic. That doesn't necessarily translate to being a good wrestler, because she really isn't. And she has no charisma. You can't argue that one with me. She has no charisma. When she talks, I want to slit my wrists. There's a reason why those two bitches never get any promo time. It's because nobody wants to hear them talk. Anyways, that's the end of the show. Like I said, next up will be the SmackDown spoilers. Whenever I can find the notes for the SmackDown spoilers, we'll do that, and then we'll do our pay-per-view predictions probably Saturday. And how much you want to bet they'll probably still add some fucking match at the last minute like they did last time. I don't think any matches have been announced for the kickoff, the pre-show yet. I'm not sure. Other than the Peep Show segment with Christian and Jericho, I don't think they've actually announced any matches. And they haven't mentioned anything with Adam Rose or Fandango yet. I don't know if those two have dropped off the map or not. I don't know. But either way, that's the end for this episode of the Wrestling Rant tonight. Thank you for watching. Join us next time for the SmackDown spoilers, and we will see you then.